and welcome to Craft with Sarah. In this video, we're making these really cute retro games with ball bearings in them. The designs have little holes in them, and the aim is to get all 3 ball bearings into the holes without any of the others coming out of place. So close. Oh no. Can I do it on camera? No. So these are really fun to make, and they'd be a nice little Valentine's gift for kids to use and to give to all their friends. We're going to make the boxes nice and secure using a glue gun, so the ball bearings will stay in there. And I've included 2 different designs, a mermaid and a little space crocodile. But I'll also show you how you can add your own photographs and other images inside. Let's get started. To make this project, you'll need some coloured cardstock and a printer to print a little picture to go inside. I've included 2 different designs, which is the mermaid and the little space crocodile, but I'll also show you how you can add your own picture, including a photograph. You'll need some acetate, only a little bit, that will cut into a square to cover the window. You'll need some craft foam or cardboard packaging from an old box or something like that, just to give a little bit of extra depth inside the box, and a pencil to draw around the template. You'll need some glue or double-sided tape and some ball bearings. I chose this, which I got on Amazon. I think it was about maybe £8 or £10, something like that. It wasn't very much, and it's all different sizes because I wasn't quite sure what I was going to need, but the ones I'm ending up using are this size here, so you might be able to find just a pack of ones that would fit, but you'll be able to check the size when you look at the design in Design Space. So there we go, that's everything we'll need. So now go ahead and download the free templates from the link in the description, and then we'll see how to use them. You can download the free cutting file for this project at craftwithsarah.com/free-svgs, or follow the link in the description of this video to go straight to the download page. The download comes in a zip folder, and you need to unzip this before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG file into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and start a new project, and then go to Upload over on the left, and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find a file on your computer, or drag and drop it in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the folder, and then within there are the 2 pre-made designs, Mermaid and Space Crocodile. I'll show the mermaid ones, so I'll double click in there, and this is our different files. For Cricut Design Space, there are 2 files you want to upload. The first is the main cuttable template to make the box, and that's the one which starts SVG in the file name. I'll click and drag that one in to begin, and it looks like this. Press upload, and then we need to do the printable mermaid, which is a separate file. So press upload image, and then once again, I'm going to go back to my folder. And this time, the one is the one which starts printable. So printable mermaid on this one. This is a print and cut image, so I'm going to choose complex as the image type. Press continue. You don't need to change anything on this page, just press apply and continue. Select print and cut image. And you can kind of tell on this where the holes are going to be for the ball bearings, but the one to choose is the one that says print and cut, because that's the one with the pretty picture. Press upload, and now that will be in our uploaded image, so we can select that one and the box template, and then press add to canvas. And here they are. The box will load in at the correct size, but your printable image will probably load in really big. And that's just a little bug with Design Space where it does load things in quite large. To get the size, click on one of the square layers in the Layers panel and just take a little look. So it's 3.001. I mean, we could probably get away with just 3 inches, but I'll copy that, click the picture, and make it the same size. When you resize it down to the same size, you should notice any exclamation mark here, which is warning you about file size or resolution should disappear. So you see that's gone now, it's that size. Alright, so that's the print then cut all sorted and ready. With these pre-made designs, they've already got the holes in them. Let's take a little look at the rest of this. We've got our box over here, which we'll need to add some score lines to. And then there are 4 separate squares. The one at the bottom in the pale grey is designed to be cut from acetate, and this will be stuck over the window so that you can see through to complete the game. The darker coloured box here is going to be right at the bottom underneath all the holes, so it will show this colour through the holes. Then we've got 2 copies of the same shape. This is to give a little bit of depth and dimension to the holes so that when the ball bearings go over them, they will sit nicely in place. It will just have that little dip for them to go in. Alright, so let's do the scoreline formatting. I'll click my box and then ungroup the layers by pressing the ungroup button at the top of the layers panel. Go down the layers panel until you find the layer, which is just a load of single lines. And you'll see when you click it that it selects all those lines over here. Under the operations, change it to a score line. And you'll notice that that changes it, so now they looked dashed on the screen. Drag a box around both of those layers, so our main box and those score lines. And then down the bottom of the layers panel, press attach. Attach is what actually tells the Cricut where we want it to do the scoreline, so it is important that you get that step. And then that's all we need to change, so we can just go ahead and press Make to separate out the colours. This one with the mermaid is a print then cut image, so you'll print it on your home printer and then feed it into your Cricut machine to cut it out. And it will cut around the edge and also cut the little circles. If you're new to print then cut and you'd like a little bit of a helping hand, check out the description of this video for a separate tutorial on how to print then cut with a Cricut. Don't forget this one, the pale grey, is to be cut from acetate, and then we've got 2 colours of cardstock for the next one. If you want to change the paper size, you can do so in the drop down here, and that's now moved those onto a separate sheet, which actually I do think will be necessary because they won't quite fit on that one. When you're happy with how everything is looking, press continue to connect to your Cricut machine and go and get everything cut out from your cardstock and your acetate and your print then cut. I did my print then cut onto matte effect photo paper rather than glossy photo paper because I was worried that glossy photo paper might scratch with the ball bearings going over it all the time, whereas matte paper has a little bit more resilience, but of course it's completely up to you. Before I go on to show you how to put this together, I also want to just quickly show you how you can add your own custom print then cut images and change the positioning of where the balls are going to go. So I just press cancel on here to go back to my main screen. Let's say I wanted to upload a photograph of a pet instead of the mermaid or the space crocodile. To do that, we'd first need to go to upload and then upload image. I've got a random stock photo of a kitten, which I'm going to do just for the sake of this video. We'll choose complex and continue. Don't change anything on this screen, just apply and continue. Choose print then cut image and then upload. So far that's exactly the same as when we did the mermaid. We'll add this to the canvas and it's going to load in really big. We definitely don't need it this big. Click on one of the solid squares and duplicate the layer by pressing the duplicate button at the top. Move it so you can see it easily. And then under operation, change it to a guide layer, and that will change it so it's now just a pink outline. To make it easier to see, click the little square where your guide rulers meet, and it will remove the guidelines, and that just makes that a little bit easier. And then you can position that over your photo and resize the photo to fit nicely in the square. Make sure you don't resize the square at all, only resize the photograph. So I think that one's looking nice. Now I'm going to drag a box. No, I'm not, because that's also selecting my cardstock there. All right, I'll click my guideline, press Shift on my keyboard and choose the print and cut and press slice. And that will cut my guide out of the photo. So now I don't need my guide anymore. We can just delete that one. And then you see I've got the perfect size square cut out. The leftover bit can just be deleted either with the delete key on your keyboard or click the trash can icon. Next, we need to add the little circles. Click on one of the existing squares with the holes, and then down the bottom, press Contour. We're going to be really sneaky here and hide all of these layers or pieces so that we just end up with one circle. So to do that, click the square picture and then two of the circles. You see they've now all grayed out. We've just got one circle left. So now when I close, we've got a teeny tiny circle. I'll zoom in so you can see this next bit better. Now you can position this where you want it to cut. And if you can't see it, go Arrange, Bring to Front to move it on top. So I might have one hole there. Press Duplicate, and now you can add as few or as many holes as you want. So I will do 3. Click one of the circles in your Layers panel, press Shift on your keyboard and choose the other 2, or however many you've put, and then go Combine and then Weld, and this will join them together into one. So now instead of 3 circles, we've just got 1. We need to cut these circles out of our photograph. So I'll select both of those and then press Slice. Delete the slice results, and now we've got our cat. And you can see if I move this over different colours, it's got those perfectly sized ball bearing holes cut out. We then just need to make our 2 coloured layers that will help make the balls sit in there a bit easier. I'll delete this one now because we don't want that one because the holes will be in the wrong place now. So I can get my cat one, press Duplicate, and then under Operation, change it from a Print Then Cut to a Basic Cut and make it the same colour as the box. To make the second one, just click and duplicate, and now we've got 2. So now when all of these are stuck one on top of the other, all the lines and the holes will be perfectly positioned. You can see there, that's showing the white through, so everything's going to line up beautifully. So whether you're making one of my pre-made designs or you're adding your own image, get everything cut out and then we'll see how to put it together. Now we've got everything cut out, we can fold up along all of the score lines. So turn your bit of paper upside down and we're going to just fold down all of these scores. So I'm folding upwards towards myself. I didn't do a very good job at that one and I managed to miss the score line. I'm going to try and straighten it up. There we go. Now that we've got everything folded up, we can glue the acetate to the inside. And I'm going to get my glue. You could also use foam, not foam, double-sided tape if you've got it thin enough, but I don't quite have any thin enough. So I'm going to add my glue and make sure it goes all the way around without any gaps in it, because you don't want to make any gaps for the ball bearings to be able to escape. So all of that is touching. And then get your acetate, stick it on. And try not to get any glue on the acetate that you'll be able to see. I'm going to hold that down. Acetate does tend to take a little while to stick, so I'm going to add my ball bearings on top to hold it down. And then give that about 5 to 10 minutes to make sure it's stuck really well before I start making the box, because otherwise if you start and the glue isn't properly dry, you'll probably find when you're moving the card around that the acetate will pop off and you'll have to stick it again. So it's definitely worth taking the time to make sure it's really dry and really well stuck. Whilst the acetate's drying, I'm going to start sticking the inside of the box together and making a little bit of template out of my craft foam. As I said at the beginning, you don't have to have foam. Any sort of thick cardboard or anything like that will work fine. It's just to give us a little bit more depth in the boxes so that it's not so far down. It just makes it look a little bit nicer. And take one of your squares draw around on your cardboard or your foam. Okay, and just cut out with a pair of scissors. We could have got the Cricut to do this for us, but because it's square, it's kind of easier just to do it by hand rather than fiddling about trying to cut a nice thick material. And it doesn't matter what colour it is because you're not going to see it at all, which is why cardboard is absolutely fine. And then next we'll stick all the pieces together. So there's the base piece and then our first one with the holes in. Just a bit of glue on here. And stick that on and make sure your edges are really well lined up, but otherwise it might not fit in the box. And this is where those balls are going to be held. We'll do one more. Got the second one. Make sure it's going to line up so that the holes go one on top of the other. There. And then we've got the printed picture to go on top. Again, make sure the holes line up. There it is. You can see that little pop of the bottom colour through the holes. And then I'm also going to stick it to my foam. Just the whole thing on here. There, now that one needs to dry. So now I've got my acetate drying and I've got this drying. I'm going to go make a little cup of tea and then come back when it's all ready to do the next step. Now my acetate is dry, we can start sticking the box together. And for this, double-sided tape is easier than glue just because it will stick instantly. We're going to be filling the edges of the box with a glue gun all the way down the side. This is just a little tester one I was working on. And that is so that we know the edges are going to be completely blocked. Those ball bearings are definitely not going to escape. And that's especially important because we're designing these to be used by children. So we just want to make sure that there are absolutely no gaps in the box. Start with the acetate on the right hand side. And this is the bottom, the inside of the box that I'm looking at. We'll start with some of the easier pieces. So on the very far flaps over here on the left, go down all the way and that just gets folded down. Really easy. And we'll do the same on this one here and also this one. Fold it over and stick down. Next we'll make the rim. So turn it over the other way. Now this is the top. And we'll put our tape, just throwing my scalpel around. Going to put our tape down these two triangle tabs. Turn it back over. And then these will fold inwards. And then we also need a bit of tape along this one. There we go. So it's going to go upwards. The tabs fold in. This is really hard to show. Fold in and then this bit goes over and then down to seal. So over, so we've got nice straight edges on all the sides. Stick the triangles down so they're stuck in there. And then fold that one over the top. And you can see now we've got half of our box all sorted. This is on top. And now we can do the bottom. Once again, turn it over so it's the correct way up. Put some tape down the triangles. And we'll go the other way. Tape down the two sides we haven't already done. There we go. And then it's going to go up. The triangles go in. You can do it one at a time if it's easier. Triangles go in. That goes up. And then just make sure that goes round. Fold over and stick. There's one side. And the other one. There. Now our box is as done as it's going to be before we get the glue gun out. And it does close up nicely. We just close it up now so you can see. But you see it's got gaping edges. They don't actually shut together. And that's why we're going to use the glue gun to put it really, really secure. We don't want those ball bearings escaping. But before we do that, we should probably add our middle bit. So a tad more glue or double-sided tape. It's up to you. Oh, this doesn't actually want to work very well on foam. Glue may have been better. Okay, that one in there. Push down and add your ball bearings. Remember, it needs 3, 1 for each of the little holes, or if you've done more or less than 3 holes, adjust your ball bearings to suit. And 1, 2, 3, there we go. Oh, these are so small. Okay. Right, I'm just going to put them in their little holes to keep them secure for this next part. And then I'm going to plug in my glue gun and get it all nice and hot. My glue gun's nice and hot, so now it's time to seal up my box. And this is the part where I'm not very good at it because I'm terrible with a glue gun. On the first one that I tried when I was testing it out, it is sealed all the way, but it is still a little bit gaping. The glue is completely sealed, the balls aren't going anywhere, but it just doesn't quite look as pretty as it could. And then on my second tester one, I put a bit too much glue on and it came out the sides, and I had to chop it off when it was dry with a craft knife. So hopefully this is going to be a third time lucky. Of course, you don't have to use a glue gun. You can use double-sided tape. You can use normal glue. It's up to you. But the reason I'm using a glue gun is just it sticks so securely. We just know those ball bearings aren't going anywhere, just for safety. Okay, so I'm going to open it up and I'm going to add glue on all the bottom bits. Try and do a sort of thin layer across the whole thing with no gaps. That's the important bit. And also we need to work quickly because it dries quickly. So we'll start. I'm just doing a thin layer all the way along. Gonna work quick. Thin layer covering the whole area. Not right up to the top or the bottom, because it will smush a bit when we put the top on. But that's all of that. And then just one smooth motion, shut the box, and now we need to push all those edges shut. Run your fingers down all of them. We're making sure that glue gets spread out. There's no gaps in there at all. Because we did a nice thin layer, there shouldn't be any spreading. So actually, this is the best one yet. Look, that's perfectly neat. There's no glue coming out the side. That's good, isn't it? The one I did on camera is the one that turns out the best. Woohoo! Okay, that should be dry, because it does go quick. Just be careful. You can wear heat-proof gloves if you want to, for a little bit of extra security. But there, that is now not going anywhere. Actually, it's not quite dry. Need a little bit more. But there we go. My little maze game is all finished, and I can just sit here now for hours trying to get those ball bearings where they're supposed to go. There's one. No, I'm not going to do it on camera. I'll be here forever. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts. I'll be back very soon with another very similar game to this. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!